With these types of videos, I see a lot of people go down into the comments and ask the question, is being a furry a sin? Or is wearing a fursuit a sin? And there have been lots of videos that detail into this response, one of mine included. It is a question that requires more to its response, because this question isn't just applicable to the aspect of fursuiting. I think this can apply to a lot of other things in our Christian life. And so today I just want to go over my sort of response to this and what I think the Christian response should be to this sort of thing. Now, do I think that being a furry or wearing a fursuit is in itself sinful? No, not inherently. And I know a lot of people are going to pause the video and just say, okay, well, that's my answer. But hold on a second. In order to truly understand this question, we first need to truly understand what sin is. And up until recently, sin wasn't something that I fully understood. And I feel like a lot of people in the modern day don't fully understand what sin is. See, a lot of Christians nowadays simply look at sin as a binary list of do's and don'ts. And granted, we do have a binary list of do's and don'ts that we are confined to, being the 10 Commandments. However, that's not just what sin is, and the Bible goes to multiple lengths in multiple places to show that sin is more than just what we can and can't do. It's rooted in the fall, in Adam and Eve. It's rooted in our fundamental desire as humans to do evil, to do things that are against God. I've heard it explained like this. In archery, sin is defined as when you miss the mark. And not just when you miss the target itself, when you miss the bullseye. So anytime that you're not getting a bullseye, that is defined as sin. And that's something that's really helped me to understand what sin is. Sin is any time that we go against God and we have intention to go against God and act against His will and His love for us. It's missing the mark, like said before. So you really need to ask yourself this question. Is being a furry or is wearing a fursuit going to hinder my walk with God? And this isn't something that you could just answer in the span of a YouTube video. This is something that you need to pray about and you need to read in the Word about. Genuinely consider and look back at yourself and think, okay, is doing this going to hamper my walk with God? The issue that I see nowadays is I see way too many people compromising and saying that they're just going to do it while not considering the impact that it might have on their spiritual health. You can definitely get involved with this sort of thing for the wrong reason, whether it's lust, whether it's a false sense of identity, including things like Therianism, or whether you use it as an escape to ditch your duties as a Christian. Because as Christians, we still have a duty to talk about the gospel and show the light of Christ to everyone we come across. Now, I'm not saying that it's sinful to like this for just the sake of enjoying it. I mean, there are plenty of things that I enjoy. I enjoy video games. I enjoy music. I enjoy art. There are plenty of things that I enjoy just for the sake of enjoying them. If you are or ever were struggling with this like I was, then I think the book of Ecclesiastes would be a really good read for you. But case in point, even if you do decide that this is something that you could do without it being a sin, you still need to set boundaries and decide on what's best for you. For me, one of the boundaries that I set is that I follow very few, if any, fursuiters per se. I prefer to follow a lot of fursuit makers because I more enjoy the craft and seeing these things come to life. I personally had a really big love of mascots when I was a kid. It was sort of a weird sort of not love relationship. I was really scared of them, but I also found them extremely fascinating. And now as an adult, I just straight up find them extremely fascinating, and I find them a really cool art form. And so one of the things that I enjoy most is watching people make these things and show them off. And it's why, I prefer to follow fursuit makers rather than fursuit performers. Because I think that that is where I found the most appreciation in the art form. The shorter answer is no, it's not a sin inherently, but you need to set limits and boundaries for yourself. Those are so important. The Bible tells us in 1 Peter to be on guard because the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. When we're out and about and doing our things and even consuming the things that we like, we need to be careful and we need to be on guard against the things of this world that can corrupt our relationship with God. Because our relationship with God is the most important thing that we could have in this life. More important than any fursuit or fursona or anything that we could ever have. If everything was taken away from me right now, like Job in the Bible, if everything was taken away from me and I had nothing left, where would you go to? Would you go to furry, for sodas, fursuiting, that sort of thing? Would you go to that to your comfort? Or would you go to God? What is your life foundationally built upon? Is it built upon this love of fursuiting and this love of personas and this love of your own sona? Or is it built upon a love for God and a desire to further his kingdom? So don't just take the answer to this question as no and run away with it. Pray about it, consider it, and talk to God and see if this is something that can truly work for his glory and for your good.